We have such shared goals and values in this space, which is why it's so wonderful for the Y and Gabrielle's Wings to walk alongside of one another. I wonder if there's some things that we want to share with our listeners today about how community and others who want to join us in this work, how they can support this effort. Anything you'd like to share there?
I mean, I think there's several levels, right? There is the most obvious of how can you truly support. This work doesn't happen for free. And so from a donation standpoint, to help assist in the work is really powerful. I think looking for opportunities to mirror what we want these children to see, right? What do we want our children to see, and how are you involved? I think sometimes people get so overwhelmed by there's so much to do, there's so many issues, that they choose to do nothing instead of trying to do something. Yes. And so if that's in your church, if that's in Vacation Bible School, if that's in a Girl Scout troop, where are those opportunities where you can volunteer, where you can share knowledge? One of the most powerful things that I did not anticipate about Gabrielle's Wings was in each of the corners that we've started so far, we have a picture of Gabrielle. Mm-hmm. And that was important to me as a mommy. But who it was really important to? Those children that look like her. Mm-hmm. Because typically, people who come into their communities to help do not look like them. Mm-hmm. So just the message that philanthropy and giving back and service can come from someone who looks like you, who is empowered, mm-hmm. to help. That a picture in a frame has done so much that I couldn't have even imagined. So I think sometimes we underestimate our individual contributions and what they mean. And you have so many kids, so many times where things are laughed off because people don't know what to do. It's like, oh, Black folks don't swim. Oh, and we've all heard, the different communities have these different sort of jokes, but the step back is that comes from a place of pain and lack. Mm-hmm. And so how do we create a bridge from that pain and lack to possibility? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's something we can do if we're teachers, if we're in the PTA, if we're in our sororities, if we're in our churches, if we're in our community civic organizations. Where are those opportunities to broaden the scope of the horizon to these children who see it in a much more narrow way than perhaps you see it or your children see it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I would just add, other ways for community, like you said, our kids can be it if they could see it. At the Y, we'd love to have more swim instructors of color, lifeguards of color, coaches of color, those volunteers you mentioned, and families just taking the first step to get their kids to the pool. Those are really important things.